And you can get a better idea of how insane this city is.
So why is it so hard to let you go? You go.
What's happening, everyone? Welcome back to a brand new episode. I'm starting this episode in this little alley because it's probably the most quiet place that you'll find here in Manila, the Philippines. Hey, what's happening? Once again, thanks for tuning in. So yeah, my hotel is just right there on this little alleyway in Manila, guys. And I just got here a couple of hours ago. Took a grab from the airport just because everything is such a mess from what I've seen from the car, guys. From what I heard, people say don't take public transportation, it will take forever. Google did say it's gonna take 2 hours, more than 2 hours, depending on what bus you took. My Grab, I took the shared Grab. It's like Uber if you have not heard of Grab, but yeah, it's probably an hour and a half. It did say somewhere between an hour and a half. It did take an hour and a half. Traffic is insane, but without any further delay, I'll show you some of the parts of Manila, some of the good parts, some of the standard normal parts. But either way, yeah, let's go and explore the city and the streets of Manila, guys. This is just outside of my hotel, and as you can tell, it's a little bit different than we have seen so far in the Philippines, especially the islands and so on. This is the first time within a large city that I'm filming. Besides Cebu, I did not do an episode from Cebu, but yeah, either way, right now I'm just gonna go and try to find something to eat because I did not have anything today. Couple of cups of coffee, and that was pretty much it. But yeah, really no specific plan. By the way, these little mini chicken buses are quite interesting. But yeah, no specific plan, just gonna go and go with the flow and check out the city. I know I'm close enough to one of the major attraction points here, the old city of Manila, so I'm probably gonna head there, film some stuff, and then kind of show you guys some of the other stuff. Some of them more or less touristic than the other. Okay, so I found this little passway above this major street, guys, and you can get a better idea of how insane this city is. I mean, just check it out. I have no idea what the hell they're selling there or what they're doing. So many umbrellas, but yeah, hopefully you guys can hear me because it's super loud. I'm speaking right in the microphone, so it should be fine. But yeah, it's insane. It's 100, 1,000, 1,000,000% different than what the island life was in the Palawan archipelago. So I found out quite easily what the line of people here is for. This is for the entrance to the cathedral that I was gonna visit here. It's one of the largest in the area, but yeah, definitely skipping it, definitely not waiting. Man, it's a lot of people, thousands, no doubt. But yeah, continuing to other parts, hopefully escape a little bit of the insanity. So found a way inside the church, but yeah, it's completely packed. Nothing super grand, but yeah, like I said, it's just one of the main religious attraction points here in the city, in this part of the city. But yeah, let's get out of here. So this is the facade of the church, and you know, even the square in front of the church is packed with people. I think there's some type of event or something going on here. But yeah, there's shops, there's, you know, a whole bunch of kind of run down buildings, you know, nothing super well kept, you know, infrastructure wise, but you know, I think that is the charm of Manila, you know, if you can call it charm. Pretty much a whole bunch of vendors selling everything and nothing in the same time. But yeah, check out the little, I don't know, old UFO look-alike on top building. So it's an outlet or something like that. But yeah, right now just, you know, trying to find a way to escape the crowds. But yeah, it's completely packed. There's a little bit of downtown, no doubt. Check out some of the, you know, you could call them skyscrapers, no doubt. You know, this bridge is actually closed. I had to go through a hole in order to get on top. This is the easiest way to get to the old part, but yeah, it's a little bit smoggy, you can tell in the footage, and extremely loud, no doubt. But yeah, the city is quite diverse, guys. I'm not sure exactly how to describe it so far. I won't be here for long, only today and tomorrow before heading over to Brunei. I was not even going to do an episode on Manila just because I didn't know if I have enough time, you know, enough to show you guys. But I said, what the hell, you know, how many times do you get to see Manila? And you know, so far it's been chaotic, no doubt. That's probably the reason why I try to avoid it. I said, man, by the time I get here there, I know it's busy. Well, got a hotel right in the middle of the city, so I can kind of walk and kind of do quite a few things in the same time, besides you know, just having it as a layover city, like I said, on my way to Brunei. Not 100% sure if this is where the area of Intramuros, what it's called, of the old part of the city starts, but you know, given the fact that it has, you know, some type of park accommodated here, this is one of the heartbeats of Manila, if I can put it that way. It does have quite a few things, but yeah, we'll find out if this is actually truly, and like I said, it's very close. I decided to stay specifically very close because, you know, this is not the spot to stay too late at night. It gets chaotic, and in the dark it's probably worse than during daylight. Definitely in the right spot, and yeah, let's see now what it has to offer. So in the old city, you'll find quite a few Spanish colonial buildings look-alike. You know, it used to be a colony of Spain before, you know, the Spanish-American War, and after that they passed on to the United States, and then afterwards, you know, it got its independence. Just a little, you know, FY, a little parenthesis, a little history. But yeah, quite nice. This is the main cathedral in the city, I believe. You know, at least it's the most popular one just because its location. But yeah, let's go a little bit inside and take a look. Inside the church, it's quite large, guys. I think there's a mass or something going on right now, but yeah, I'm not able to speak loud or, you know, go down the aisle. It's actually a wedding taking place. Well, good fortune and an abundance of knowledge, guys, because you will need it. And if you want to enjoy the old town of Manila in a different way, it looks like you can hire a horse and buggy. But yeah, I think walking is a little bit better. And this is another grand building I forgot to show you guys, Palacio de Gobernador. So yeah, administrative stuff and, you know, touristic stuff. This is the place to enjoy if you have 24 to 48 hours in Manila. So guys, if you do come to the Philippines, one thing that you gotta try is the siapao, I think it's called, it's pronounced. But they're just these big dumplings, you know, as big as my hand, and they're filled with a whole bunch of stuff. This one is asado. It's a little bit sweet, a little bit spicy, but yeah, they're gigantic. All 7-Elevens have it, and you know, it's around 42 pesos, so not even a US dollar. So yeah, definitely delicious. So if you do a quick research on Google, what's the most popular place to visit in Manila, the Santiago Fort is gonna pop up pretty much everywhere. This is a 16th century, you know, military fort, and it's still, you know, quite well preserved. You know, there's some, you know, pieces that they're definitely in need of some restructuring, but yeah, let's go and see what else we can find. You know, history-wise, just to make a little parenthesis, you know, the Philippines used to be a Spanish colony, and after the Spanish-American War, you know, it came under the American ownership, and then, you know, later on it got its independence. So a lot of times you'll do find, you know, Spanish resemblance, like even names. You know, I've there's quite a few people having the last name Sanchez, you know, so, you know, it's very popular all throughout Latin America and Spain. But yeah, either way, I thought that was, you know, cool, you know, thing to point out, because it's definitely quite popular. A decent view of the fort, and with some skyscrapers, you know, some old stuff, some new stuff. That's something that's always cool to see. You know, a lot of places in Southeast Asia do have that in the middle of the cities, you know, some traditional parts, some cultural parts, and then all of a sudden, you know, if you look a little bit above the horizon, above the cultural horizon line, if I can call it that way, you'll find skyscrapers. You'll find that in Tokyo quite a bit. You'll find that in Malaysia quite a bit. You'll find it pretty much in all major cities. So a view of the main fort square, if I can put it that way. You know, some barracks here on the left side. If you go up the stairs, you can get some pretty decent views of the cathedral, so that looks quite nice right there. Statues and stuff like that, you know. I mean, still quite a few stuff need to be readjusted, reconstructed, but yeah, overall, you know, it's a decent place, no doubt. One thing to point out, definitely go all the way towards the end, so you can get some really nice views of the city. You know, I mean, there's some other not so nice views, but you know what I mean. You know, it's the view itself, the whole, the 30,000 level feet view of the city is quite nice. You know, you get some parts of the fort as well, the river. You know, you get a lot, you get an insight of the daily life, you know, across the river. Yep, this is Manila. You know, you get the good, the bad, the ugly. You get everything all in one. And again, guys, as I mentioned in the previous episodes, it's really convenient here because everyone speaks English. Now, there is a bad side of that too. People don't listen very well. They don't seem to listen very well, and they rush really fast. You know, they'll try to complete your sentences. They'll try to respond before you're even done. And a lot of times you get the situation where they'll mess up your orders. They'll let me give you a perfect example. Actually, at the hotel, when I first got there, I asked them, is breakfast included in the room rate? He said, yes sir, it's included. What would you like? You know, and when I checked out, I ate breakfast every single day. When I checked out, he said, no, the breakfast is not included. Well, I just asked you. And he said, well, I thought you asked me if I can put it to the room rate. You know, completely misunderstood. So you know, the breakfast is okay, it was not decent, but either way, you know, at the end, at the last minute, you know, they didn't mention anything before. When I was getting out to head towards the bus, they say, oh sir, you gotta pay 400 pesos. You know, no big deal, $8, $9, whatever that may be. But still, communication wise, you know, they kind of seem to rush. They kind of try to speak a little bit too fast at times, but overall, you know, you can ask anyone on the street and they'll know English. Check this out. So just a step away from the fortress, you get this super cool, you know, Angkor Wat lookalike tree taking over this house right here. It looks really cool. Gotta move out of the way for the little carriage, but yeah, I just noticed it and I decided, you know, come really fast and take a glance at it. It's always fascinating. You know, it's always fascinating to see when nature, you know, takes over the human part of the city. So there are quite a few interesting spots to visit, no doubt, but everything's so congested, guys. Everywhere it's packed. I mean, even a parking spot in the front of this church. You can't take any photos, anything whatsoever here that's kind of artistic. I mean, you can call it artistic if you can combine and create a nice perspective. But you know what I mean. If you want to get a picture of the church or something like that, the drone is probably the easiest way. But I guess there's another wedding here, but we're not allowed just because we're tourists, not because of anything else. Kind of weird. But this church, the interior looks way better than the other one. It looks like there's a night market as well here somewhere. Not sure exactly where, if it's in that parking spot or not, but what city in Southeast and East Asia does not have a night market, right? And just a few feet away from where we were, a more exotic part of the city starts again. You go from one type of architecture or feeling vibe to a different one in a matter of seconds. So again, that's another thing to add to the bucket list of Manila, right? Changing perspectives and expectations quite fast. I do think it's important to mention that there's a lot of construction. There's a lot of positive construction that is, infrastructure wise, not just, fixing things temporarily or what. Yeah, there's a lot of traffic, there's a lot of noise, there's a lot of garbage, but it looks like things are moving in the right direction, compared to other cities that we have seen or we personally know that, things just seem sedentary, right? So, yeah, that's the good part about Manila, and that's the good part about a lot of the places here in the Philippines or other places that we have seen in Southeast Asia, right? Laos is the first one that comes to my mind. A lot of infrastructure projects, so that's always positive. So walking by here, I realized that there's a gate, and I thought, oh, Chinatown, but it's actually a Muslim town, and that's the first that I see. Check it out. Yeah, very similar to what you see in all Chinatowns all throughout the world, right? A little gate opening to the town, the neighborhood of a specific ethnicity, religion, or so on. If you do follow the path into the Muslim quarter, if I can put it that way to make a reference to the quarters of Jerusalem, you'll find a really intriguing mosque. Check out that Golden Dome. There's a lot of places here that sell a whole bunch of outfits, but yeah, it's quite intriguing, when you can find different hidden gems, because I think this actually does look quite intriguing as as run down as the neighborhood does look. Guys, so this is not the greatest view or the greatest photo, but check out, if I can focus and find a good spot, where the moon is. Check it out, right between the two towers of that church. So right now I'm going to try to find a spot where there's none of these things above, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to rush a little bit here, hopefully get a decent photo. So guys, putting an end to the episode in the same spot that I started, in the alleyway towards my hotel. Hope you guys enjoyed it. It was very short, it was very brief, it was a very unexpected episode. Definitely don't take this episode as a guide to Manila, because it was not. It was something impromptu, something, just kind of give you a feel of how Manila actually could be for some of you. It's just like a preparation. Be prepared for this, but expect a whole bunch more. Or a whole bunch less. Again, everything in life comes down to two things, right? Expectations and perspective. Either way, enough knowledge for one day. Gratitude should be the only attitude. Thank you for tuning in. Give it a subscribe if you have not subscribed so far. Any like, comment, shares, I always appreciate it. Stay humble, and I'll see you next time. Peace.
So why is it so hard to let you go? To let you go. So why is it so hard to let you go? it so hard to let you go?